and we will start. So today is February 8th, 2022, and this is another general meeting. Alright, so disclaimer. Yeah, so you guys have seen this. The following references is opinion, informational purposes only. If you do lose money in stocks, don't blame it on us. Very nice. Okay, Austin. So you can explain it.
Do I have to explain the rules?
Sure.
Yeah. You will find the rules in the. Oh, if you guys don't know how to play Wordle, first of all, I don't know what you guys are doing. Second of all, you'll see it's a fun game. It'll be quick. It'll be quick. All right. So, what are you gonna? All right. So the rules. Just read it. If you can't, okay, I'll read it aloud. I'll read it out loud then. Okay. You have to guess a 5-letter word in 6 tries, and you press the enter button to submit. What? Okay. After each guess, the color tiles would change to show how close your guess to the word. If a letter comes up as green, then it is both in the word and in the correct spot. If the letter comes up as a yellow, it is in the word, but is not in the right spot. And if the letter comes up as gray, the letter is not in the word at all. Okay? Yes, basically. So if no one, does anyone want to start us off with a random 5-letter word? If not, okay, Gilbert, go ahead.
Drugs.
Okay, yeah, sure, let's do that. Drugs. Wow, we actually have R in the correct place with all of the other letters not appearing in the 5-letter word. All right. So now basically the something you have to consider here for the next words. You can't use the grayed out letters, and yeah, that's about it. So anyone got a second word that we can use? Katie, go ahead.
Pride.
Pride. All right, let's try that.
Pride or bride?
Bribe.
Can you say that again?
B-R-I.
B-R-I-B-E.
As in the wedding bride?
No. Bribe, as in like I'm gonna bribe you, like blackmail. Blackmail.
Pride, or with a P.
Look up at the board, Austin. Austin's right there.
Oh, shoot. Okay, wait, that's the. Okay, we have another letter on the board, a green E. All right, that's great. So we have eliminated SDGBUI, which is pretty sick. All right. So anyone got another letter? Oh, Riam, go ahead.
Pride.
All right, I guess that'll work. That did not help at all. Wait, actually, the D was already used and the I was already. Okay, yeah, okay, that was a questionable guess. Okay. I haven't even looked at this yet, so let me think about this.
Do you have any other guesses?
Yeah, if anyone has any other guesses, I'm gonna sit here and think for a minute. Okay, maybe a constant A. Oh. What's a good letter to start with? Let me pick a letter so I can start with.
I have a word.
Who just said that? Yes, go ahead, Vincent. Drove. Wait. Hold up. Actually, no. We already used D. Oh no! If the letter appears gray, it's not anywhere in the word. If it appears yellow, then it's in the wrong place. Okay, I saw Owen's hand first. That's the R's in the wrong place. If you do that, Riam, go ahead. How do you spell that? Trove? That's a pretty good guess. I guess. This is not going well, guys. Alright, anyone else? At least we have eliminated some letters. Hello? Gilbert, go ahead.
Hello?
What made you think that?
Wait, elevator use these or
Gilbert, you have to at least try here. Come on.
Look at the words. Look at the words.
Alright, let me.
Look at the words. Look at the
I'm guessing there's either. Oh, yeah, there's probably a
Frame. Crane.
crane.
Yeah, crane.
Who's okay? Crane.
Crane.
Yeah, sure. Crane. All right, let's. Oh.
Okay.
Okay, we have one more guess left, so this is the wrong one. Anyone would like to take the pressure or the responsibility for the last guess? Frame. Frame.
Bro, this is
That's the only one that makes sense.
Can anyone think of any other words besides frame? If not, we're just gonna put in the guess.
Frame.
It could be frame. All right, frame. Let's try that.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go! On the last attempt, we have got the correct word. Barely. All right. Nice job, everyone. That's our icebreaker for today.
Okay, thank you, Austin, for hosting that. Good job, Katie, for saving us at the end. Alright, so that was our icebreaker today. I'll just do this real quick. Alright, cool. Okay, so spreadsheet check. Okay, actually. Right, so this is the spreadsheet check. If you use the QR code up above on the board, you can check our attendance, and if you see any incorrect attendance marks, you can get Andy or me to try and fix it. And we'll give you a minute to check up on this. Yep, so please do check. That way we get all of your attendance correctly. And then, yeah, so like you said, we'll give it maybe another 30 seconds. And if the information was put incorrectly, it most likely was because you did not fill in the sign-in form. So, but nonetheless, just let us know if you think there's an issue. And now we will move on. Okay, so Joy did this slide, so I'll just cover for her. So, what did we learn about last time? So we talked about semiconductor chips a lot and how all of that is just kind of screwing up the market in general. Demand, although the pandemic did slow a lot of things, demand about goods generally did not. If anything, it made it way bigger. And there's a lot of issues with manufacturing facilities around the world, all of that. We did talk about Spotify a lot, and it has been cash flow positive for multiple consecutive years and might be a smart decision to make to potentially buy. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. You guys can read all that information if you would like to just get a brief overview of what we talked about last time. I'll leave that up for maybe another 10 seconds or so. All right, okay. William?
Alright, so for the agenda slide for, for the agenda today, we'll be going over market terms, market update, and then we'll be going over terms, and then for preferred versus common stock, arbitrage? How do you pronounce that? Arbitrage? Okay. Number 5, specific stock dive, and number 6, we'll be doing paper trading.
All right, thank you, William. Yeah, so that's our agenda for today. And yeah, let's jump into it. So, market update. All right, so as you can see, the sector is not doing too hot. Many sectors, basically, the vast majority of the sectors are all in the red, which is not great. Although this is another thing that I did talk about maybe 2 meetings ago, which is that although a day did have a good I guess, market day, it doesn't necessarily mean the market itself is doing good. So this is a great example of that. Today we did see about around 1% growth for basically 3 of the biggest indexes for the stock market. But as you can see, the sector is still in the red, and the market is still very, I guess, unpredictable, and investors don't know whether it's going to go up or down. So yeah, it's just something that you do want to kind of pay attention to. Although one day is good, doesn't necessarily mean the whole market is doing like good. And that's vice versa too. If there's one bad day, it doesn't necessarily mean that the whole market's going to be bad for the next week or so. So, all right, next we will talk about terms. So who would like to do this? Okay, yeah. So.
Alright, the first term is execution. Execution is the completion of a buy or sell order for a security. The execution of an order occurs when it gets filled, not when the investor places it. When the investor submits the trade, it is sent to a broker who then determines the best way for it to be executed.
Alright, thank you. Yeah, and just to kind of elaborate on that, so a lot of you guys are familiar with paper trading, correct? Yes? Alright. Now, because right now it is actually after market hours, what do you think happens when we place that fake trade? Austin?
It'll get executed when the market opens tomorrow.
Exactly, yeah. So just because you buy a stock, I guess, like after market hours, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be placed. It's going to place actually after. So this is why something called after hours is super, super important. So I think a couple days ago, a couple stocks like, I think the main one I remember was like PayPal. PayPal was down around $15 after hours. So that means if it was, for example, I don't remember the price, but let's just say it was 180. That means if you place an order on that day after market hours, or after market hours, even though it says 180, when the order gets placed, you're actually going to be buying it at 165. So it's just something that you kind of want to be aware of. One of those, like those big drastic changes doesn't really happen much. If anything, it's just maybe less than $1. So, but it is something that you do want to pay attention to. All right, moving average. I'll cover this one. So, in statistics, essentially a moving average is an average. So there are many moving averages, whether it's MA5, MA10. Can anyone guess what a moving average 5 would mean? Austin.
5 days.
Exactly. So that just means that is a 5-day average of what a stock price is. And what do you think, based off of that, what an MA10 would be? Someone other from us. Sorry. Exactly, yeah. And there's many averages. MA10, MA30, MA200. So it's just something that a lot of people use just to get a general idea of how the stock is doing based on that date. So yeah, you guys can read that pretty lengthy explanation if you want to, but yeah, that's pretty much the main gist of it. And would anyone like to do this? Okay, I'll cover this one too. Yeah, so a stock quote is essentially just the price of the stock, almost. A basic quote is essentially for a specific stock that provides information such as the bid and ask price. So you might have you guys seen any websites that have said like, oh, you can buy a quote of a stock. Have you guys heard of that at all in any website? Okay, well, this is something that some websites try to do to kind of advertise. So we'll talk about something called arbitrage very soon, but just make sure to remember quote, because quote essentially a lot of free websites, that price is not actually very accurate. It might be off by 15 seconds, maybe 30 seconds, maybe a minute. It kind of depends. So the reason why they don't update you with the most accurate information is because it is extremely valuable to have that information by the second, and a lot of websites as a result force you to pay in order to get that information. So just make sure to remember that, because that's going to be super important when we talk about arbitrage. Alright, preferred and common stock. So yeah.
Alright, so what is preferred stock and what is common stock? So a preferred stock is stock that gives someone an exact dividend. Now, in case you forget what a dividend is, last meeting, it is the sum of a company that pays regularly out of its profit to its shareholders for each quarterly of a year. Now, a common stock is a stock that gives a dividend for each quarterly of a year to its investors. However, a preferred stock does not give the individual voting rights, while a common stock does allow the individual voting rights.
Yeah, and I'll just elaborate a little bit more on this. So, especially about the third bullet, when you buy a stock, remember we probably covered this within like the first 2 or 3 meetings, you're essentially buying a part of the company. Now, common stocks give you individual voting rights as a result of buying a stock. Now, is your percentage of stock for a normal person going to be very low? Probably. But when it comes to like ownership and everything, and if somebody has the majority of stock, they're gonna have those rights to that company. And do you want me to? Okay, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, so why does this matter? Now, it might sound the same, but the preferred stock always gives an exact amount per quarter to their shareholders, while in contrast, the common stock doesn't do that. It doesn't have any guarantee. And sometimes payment, like I said, could be even missed out on. The dividends of preferred stocks are always put on the higher priority than the common stock dividends, but with all the perks of preferred stocks, it's not like too good to be a true thing, but essentially, preferred stocks are often available in very limited numbers and have lower liquidity. And as you can see there, liquidity is just how fast can you like sell it and make money from it. So yeah, and let's see, yeah, and when you talk about stocks generally, and take this with a grain of salt, generally you're talking about common stocks. So, and is it important? Okay, yeah.
Alright, now we're gonna talk about arbitrage. Yeah. Alright. So, essentially, when we talked about the quote I was talking about earlier, arbitrage, why is this important? Because arbitrage is essentially a way of legally making money by buying a stock on one market and selling it for higher on another market. Now, you may think, wow, how is this even possible? Well, think about it like this. This is kind of like a little analogy. Let's say you find the same piece of clothing somewhere, right? Let's say it sells for $50 at Target, while it sells at $25 at Ross. Obviously, this is like a very large analogy, but just disregard that. So, essentially what happens is, if you could theoretically sell to Target, right? You could buy Ross, you could go to Ross, buy that piece of clothing for $25, and then go to Target and then sell with that for $50, which makes you a profit. And is that illegal? No, because you just took advantage of that. Can you do that with Target if you want to pay you that money? Probably not, but that's besides the point. So in stocks, an example of this would maybe be getting a piece of stock like Disney stock for $150 at one market and selling it, or sorry, buying a stock at $130 at a stock market and selling it at $150 at another market. So this is very possible in the stock market, but we will talk about this more right now. So arbitrage is very common in crypto because crypto is generally a lot more, I guess, volatile versus normal stocks. And as a result, arbitrage is very important and is actually used a lot. So going back to what I said about the quotes, why would having, I guess, a quote like a very, very accurate price by the second super important for arbitrage? Would anyone like to guess why?
Because the prices can vary within seconds by
Yeah,
a large
exactly.
margin.
Exactly, yeah. So there's kind of like big, I guess this very big opportunity for profit usually does not happen. You don't usually see a piece of stock selling for $25 less on another market. That's just not realistic. But within the seconds, when the market hours are still open, it can maybe vary maybe a couple cents. And these people who have a bunch of money and a lot of time on their hands and also the resources to do these trades can make those trades in seconds. And like that, they just make profit very easily. And it's not illegal. And because they have that much money, they are able to buy so many shares that maybe a couple of cents could very, very easily amount to like a lot of money. So, yeah. And usually these are kind of done in foreign exchanges. So there's actually a guy, I forgot his name, but he became a multi-billionaire, I think, or multi-millionaire by literally just buying and flipping Bitcoins on other foreign markets. And we actually have a graph to show this very soon, but this is also possible with other exchange rates. So you can think about this almost like kind of having exchange rates for currency. So maybe, let's say you want to convert US dollar to maybe pounds or something. And then pounds, if you do it to another currency, then you get that other currency and you make it back to dollars. There's a very, very large chance that you can maybe make some money off of that. And that, as you can see, is not illegal as well. So, and the reason why I stress this so much that it's not illegal, because it is something that's kind of confusing, but it is very, very possible. So, Bitcoin arbitrage, like I talked about before, it might sound too good to be true, and it kind of is in a way, but it's not illegal. The main catch with it is that it's very, very unlikely that you're going to be able to capitalize on, first of all, to even have the chance to have a very, very large opportunity to make a bunch of money. And second of all, for the opportunity to like kind of exist at the pace that you can place the trade in. Like these, I guess these opportunities can really, really just disappear in a matter of seconds. So it's very, very important, like I said, when I talk about the flows. And you can kind of see arbitrage as maybe a triangle. And not about triangle, but a money-based triangle. So buying low and selling high is very possible with cryptocurrencies, especially with Bitcoin and Ethereum and all these cryptocurrencies. Now, obviously, is this realistic for a day-to-day trader? Probably not. But it is very important because it is still a strategy that a lot of people use. And it's a very, I guess, you can have a lot of upturn with this strategy. So it's very, very possible. So this is the graph that I was talking about before. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with Bitcoin. And so let's say you start with 1,000 of Bitcoin, and you exchange that with Ethereum, and then you exchange that with another cryptocurrency, LTC, and then you exchange LTC back to Bitcoin, and then you end up with 26 more Bitcoin than you started, all completely legally. And I'm sure a lot of you guys know how much Bitcoin is worth. It kind of dropped a lot, but right now it's having like 30K, 40K, right? So you literally just made, I don't know what 26 times 40K is, but it's a lot of money. And you did that basically effortlessly. Now, what I talked about earlier, why is this kind of unrealistic?
Well, because it can change within seconds.
Exactly, but who has 1,000 Bitcoin? Exactly, yeah. So that's the thing, right? So this is very, very possible if you have a bunch of money, right? So this is why I guess you could say the rich get richer. As if you have the ability to have 1,000 Bitcoins or maybe even 500, you can still make 13 extra Bitcoins, which is $400,000. Right now, even Bitcoin dropped like a bunch. So it's still very, very, very interesting, and it's definitely something to keep on the lookout for, and possibly maybe see, I guess, opportunities of this. So specific topic. Sorry. Today we're going to be focusing on Airbnb, and I'll let take over.
So Airbnb stock is our deep dive for this week. Key info. Airbnb went up 2.75% today. Currently, they're sitting at a market cap around 100 billion USD. Their revenue for 2020 was $3.378 billion. At the bottom, you'll see a lot of current valuation measures. You can look at those if you want, but really the key takeaway is that since its founding in 2007, Airbnb has since grown to 4 billion hosts who have welcomed more than 1 billion guests across over 220 countries and regions across the globe. So here's just a table demonstrating the company's strong growth. This is a table of the 2021 Q3 financial quarter. Airbnb reported strong company financials and growth signals. So you can see that revenue, net income, diluted earnings per share, and net profit margin all grew double digits or more. Yeah, so just strong signs for the company. So what this means for Airbnb as an investment. Initially, at the start of the pandemic in 2020, Airbnb started declining growth and poor performance. However, the company turned around in 2021. The company's strong sustainability is highlighted in the reported 3 areas of value. Mostly due to the travel rebound, the company saw its highest revenue and net income ever, as well as their highest EBITDA of $1 billion.
Okay, does anyone know what EBITDA is? Like this? Would you like to know about that?
Okay, EBITDA is basically earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. It's a valuation measure used by many investors just to see how much money a company is earning on paper before all of those things. So for Q3, Airbnb had an EBITDA of around $1 billion, and they exceeded that mark in the first half. The major point of this slide is that during the summer, Airbnb reached 1 billion cumulative guest arrivals as vaccinations increased, and as a result, post earnings reached around $12.8 billion during the quarter. Airbnb management claims that cumulative guests and host earnings are also continuously growing, which is another good sign for the company. Airbnb has been deemed by traditional value metrics as overvalued. However, as the company has shown steady and robust continued growth despite the economic downturn of the pandemic, as well as its ability to rebound in 2021, the company may be worth an investment today. Note that Airbnb is also trading roughly 26% lower than its all-time high.
Alrighty, now we're gonna move on to paper trading. So just give me 1 second. Okay, cool. Now we're here. So let's check up on stocks that we mentioned last time and just see our portfolio, and then we'll move on to maybe some eyes there. So as you can see, I guess slight improvement from last time, since last time every single stock was in the red, but we're actually earning some money, I guess, or overall not, but some. Alright, so nothing much honestly that's different from last time. It's just the COVID resurgence and everything, a lot of uncertainty about interest rates, all of that. It's really taking a toll on a lot of these stocks. And like you guys saw on the market update on that sector, as you can see, a bunch of sectors are just going down. All of these guys are very, I guess, great companies, and they're just not doing too hot right now in the stock market. Last time I didn't actually check the next page, so. Alright, and as you can see, more losses. We actually lost $2,000 in Bitcoin, even though we have 0.2 shares of it. Like, so yeah, that's just tells you, I guess, how kind of scary cryptocurrency can be. Even though we literally didn't even buy, we literally bought what, 20% of Bitcoin, of a single Bitcoin. We still lost $2,000. So it's just very scary. And Lucid actually was kind of interesting. So they were doing really well, and then just kind of died. Yeah, down 1.5K. But this is kind of like a risk I kind of want to talk about these like smaller companies. Now Lucid is like a very, I guess, ambitious company, and as a result, pretty volatile. So you kind of have to expect these things when investing in smaller like stocks, and it shouldn't come as a surprise to you. So please only invest with the money that you can afford to lose. It's pretty self-explanatory. So going back to the first slide, or first page. Well, the couple stocks we do actually have seen growth in is Apple and what is this? Okay, I don't know. Oh, it's Wells Fargo. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Okay, so our only 3, I guess, choices that were in green is Richard Hathaway, which is one of the most like iconic companies. I'm not really surprised by that. Wells Fargo has been doing pretty good actually. It is a banking company, so that could explain some things. And also Apple, let's face it, expensive too, which is very solid. And now we'll move on to some thoughts. So I know everything right now is like kind of already, I guess we won't have any trades left. Okay, never mind then. But I will put in any trades that you guys have at home today. So any stocks and why. Any stock that you would want to buy. And again is Alan.
Airbnb.
Okay, why is there why would you want to Airbnb?
It's a good company, and I'd rather be paid for that.
Okay, fair enough. Alright, so I'll put some shares of Airbnb tonight. Any other stocks? Any ideas? Anything that you just want to test? Because this is the whole point of using big money. Because we don't have $100,000 to lose.
So risking like any stocks we could buy.
If not, then that will wrap up our paper trading.
Preferably if I would say.
Okay, so now post no reflections. Can you take that off? So, once again, you guys know the drill. So, rate this meeting from a 1 to 10, and then please write something that I can improve on. And don't put your name on it, just be be as strict as possible. I do want to improve the meetings, be in my meetings, so it's very important. That's very true. Yeah, and after you run through the functions, be sure to check out our club contact info. All of our stuff is on the video. We have our Instagram, we have our blog, we have our Discord, we have our YouTube, we have everything. And also very important, if you are late or if you still need a time form, it is right there. Please fill that out in order to, record your attendance. And I will make this for another few seconds if you need that. If not, after you write your post-it note, you are free to leave. Thank you very much for coming, guys.